All right, so blessings. So I've been wanting to touch on this concept with regards to how the devil deceived the masses, or how the devil deceived the people, and what are some of the methods that the devil employs in order to achieve his goal, i.e., how he goes about achieving his goal with regards to subjugating the masses from a spiritual, emotional, and psychological perspective. All right, because as I've mentioned in previous videos, that the devil's job or the powers that be that rule this current kingdom, their goal is to subjugate the masses, okay, by any means necessary. And one of the methods that they use is obviously tools such as social media, the mainstream media, the use of propaganda slash misinformation in order to deceive people, okay. But it also must be understood that Satan is very subtle, he's very deceptive, he's very manipulative, and he's very seductive, all right, or very seductive rather, and he understands the desires of many. All right, Satan understands what's in your heart, and Satan has no problem making false promises into making you believe that he will grant you your respective desires. Okay, and this is where the spirit of discernment comes into play. Those of us that are in the know, those of us that are in the knowledge with regards to the Bible and understand how the world works and who runs this world. All right, it's important to understand that spirit discernment is important because it's important to decipher as to when certain gifts may arrive on a lap, when they fall on a lap. We got to decipher and discern as to whether it's from the Most High Yahweh or is it from the devil himself. Okay, and it's important to acknowledge as to where your heart is at. All right, because Yahweh Shai in Matthew chapter 6 says that, I believe it's the 14th verse, he says that wherever your treasure is, or wherever your heart is, that's where your treasure will be. Okay, so understand that Satan may use your desires in order to subjugate you, in order to rule you in order to make you join forces with him, all in an attempt to deprive you and steer you away from the Most High Yahweh. Okay, because as I stated in previous videos also, the devil's goal is to be like the Most High Yahweh. All right, that's why the world is the way it is today, and that's why things are going in the direction that they're currently going in. Okay, so it's important to bear that in mind. So I wanted to use this video as an example, this scenery right here in Harry Potter, the Philosopher's Stone, where Harry Potter's about to have a showdown with Voldemort. All right, as I was watching this part of the franchise, this part of the movie, Harry Potter, Philosopher's Stone, I thought, you know what, it will be very important and integral that I make a video about this, as it will make me touch on quite a few talking points that I'm very familiar with. And I thought, you know what, it will be a very good idea that I spread forth my knowledge, wisdom, understanding to people that are seeking truth. All right, people that are seeking wisdom and knowledge. All right, because this message right here is obviously for the very few and not the very many. Okay, and obviously I want to do my best to help pass on knowledge to people that are very sincere, and that people that are very sincere about unfolding the truth and obviously subscribing to the truth. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to play the video and we're going to see what transpires here. And of course, from time to time, I'm going to pause it and make a few commentary as to what's going on in the scenery. So let's see what unfolds here.
I see myself holding the stone. But how do I get it? Use the boy. Come here, Potter! Now! Tell me, what do you see?
Just quickly, so this right here, Harry Potter is holding what is called the Philosopher's Stone. All right, and for the purpose of this video, I'm going to associate the Philosopher's Stone as Harry Potter's soul and spirit. All right, proverbially speaking, the Philosopher's Stone will be Harry Potter's spirit and soul, and The reason why that is, I'm going to explain it as the video proceeds.
What is it? What do you see?
I'm shaking hands with Dumbledore. I've won the House Cup.
Lies. Tell the truth. What do you see?
So Harry is queried as to what he sees when looking into the mirror. Obviously, it's quite evident on display that Harry Potter sees himself holding the Philosopher's Stone, but he makes it clear to Professor Quirrell that he's actually holding the Quidditch Cup and shaking hands with Dumbledore. Okay, and the whole purpose of him doing so was to not compromise himself in the process. Okay, but it was understood that he was lying, because Voldemort, who is behind this purple robe, behind Professor Quirrell, was able to understand that Harry Potter was telling lies, because he can see what was actually in Harry's pocket and what Harry Potter was holding. All right.
Speak to him. Master, you are not strong enough. I have strength enough for this.
Voldemort.
Yes, you see what I've become. See what I must do to survive. Live of another. A mere parasite. Unicorn blood can sustain me, but it cannot give me a body of my own. But there is something that can. Something that conveniently enough lies in your pocket. Stop him!
So Voldemort acknowledged that there is something convenient that lies in Harry Potter's pocket. And once again, that's the Philosopher's Stone, which I associate as Harry Potter's soul and spirit. And that's ultimately what Harry Potter is. That's essentially what Voldemort is after. The Philosopher's Stone, aka Harry Potter's spirit and soul. Okay?
Don't be a fool. Why suffer an horrific death when you can join me?
So notice that Voldemort is saying to Harry Potter, why suffer a horrific death when you can join me? Okay? And this is ultimately what Satan does in order to get people to join forces with him. Okay, this is the seductive voice tone, the manipulation tactics that he deploys in order to get people to join his side. Okay, the dark side, the unrighteous side. Okay, and oftentimes people do this by selling their own soul. Okay, and that's essentially what goes on in the music world, the entertainment world, aka the Illuminati. All right, many celebrities and whatever have you, they sold their soul. And as I stated already, that the Philosopher's Stone is something that associates with Harry Potter's spirit and soul, and evidently this is something that Harry is not willing to give over. Okay, because when you read Matthew chapter 16 and verse 26, it says, "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" Okay, and that's what takes precedence in the world that we live in. Many people give over their soul and their spirit to the devil. Okay, because they've been beguiled, they've been manipulated, they've been deceived. Okay, because Satan has promised them the desires of their heart. Oftentimes they've been granted those things, but ultimately it just means everlasting destruction. The Most High is going to grant them everlasting destruction. Okay, and on the flip side to that, people have been deceived by receiving fake promises that's obviously never come to fruition. In other words, people have been given promises, but they never received those respective promises. Okay, so understand that you might gain the whole world, you might gain fame, you might gain money, and fame, but if you're going to lose your soul and give your soul over to Satan, understand that that results in everlasting torment and destruction from the Most High Yahweh. Okay. And this is why, just quickly before I play the video, this is why it's important to remain spiritually awakened, stay spiritually discerned, and stay spiritually strong. Okay. And this is why you must constantly put the Most High first, constantly seek the Most High Yahweh. All right. Ensure that His Holy Spirit is within you, so then that way He keeps you at strength. I'm going to rewind it back a little bit.
Don't be a fool. Why suffer an horrific death when you can join me and live?
Never!
Bravery. Your parents had it too.
So Harry's making it very clear that he's not going to join forces with Voldemort, as he clearly states never.
Tell me, Harry, would you like to see your mother and father again? Together, we can bring them back.
So understand and pay very, very close attention as to what's going on here. Voldemort is using Harry Potter's parents as a vessel or tool to try and deceive Harry in order to get Harry to bow down to Voldemort. Okay. And like I already stated, the devil understands what your goals are, what your desires are, and he'll make false promises. Into making you believe that, you know, what he's offering to you is very legit. All right. And understand something also, because when you read Matthew, the 4th chapter, what did Satan try to do to Yahushua? He tried to deceive him, taking him up to a high mountain and saying to him, should you worship him and forget the Most High, disobey the Most High, in other words, all the kingdoms of the earth shall be his. Okay, Satan's making a promise to Yahushua, or that false promise to Yahushua, that if Yahushua worships the devil, Satan himself, Satan will grant him all the kingdoms of the earth. All right. So Satan understands what needs to be done in order to try and deceive people. Okay, offer them materialistic substances in order to gain an advantage over them. Okay, and Satan will use what is precious to you in order to achieve his objective. Okay, and in this clip right here, Harry Potter's parents evidently was something that was very precious to Harry. Okay, they were killed by Voldemort himself when Harry Potter was just a baby. Okay, Harry Potter was someone that never met his parents. He just learned about his parents through what was in. Harry Potter learned about his parents from various sources, aka other people that met his parents. Okay, and Voldemort is being deceptive by making false promises to Harry that he will bring his parents back from the dead, but Harry Potter evidently does not fall for the bait. Okay, so understand Satan's devices, understand the manipulation tactics that are being deployed by Satan / the devil himself. All right.
All I ask is for something to see your mother and father again. Together, we can bring them back. All I ask is for something in return.
So Voldemort saying to Harry that he can bring back your parents just for something in return. Okay, and spiritually, like I already stated, I associate the Philosopher's Stone as Harry Potter's soul and spirit. Okay, that's what Voldemort's after, and once again, that is something that Harry is not willing to give over. Okay, so this is why it's important to understand when you watch movies that oftentimes they're portraying a certain message, and it's important to decipher what the message is being perpetuated, understand what it relates to, understand the spiritual aspects and the spiritual implications behind each message.
That's it, Harry. There is no good and evil. There is only power.
Just hear what Voldemort said there. There is no good and evil. In other words, there is no God, there's no Most High, there's no Yahweh, there is no righteous judge, there is no righteous ruler. Okay, that's why we live in a world where it basically consists of folly ma, do as thy will. Okay, and that's why the world is the way it is today. There's nothing but chaos, confusion, and pure, utter, hellacious disorder. Okay, because we've been convinced as a mass population that there is no higher power. Okay, and this is ultimately the devil's doing. This is the devil's job. This way the devil remains in control. He remains in rulership. Okay, so this is how the devil goes about deceiving people, denying the Most High, and implementing certain mechanics slash methods slash devices to have people under subjugation. Okay, so this is important to understand.
And those too weak to seek it. Together, we'll do extraordinary things. Just give me the stone.
So he says, together we will go out and do extraordinary things. In other words, what you can associate as, we'll go out, we're going to conquer the world, we're going to be the best of friends, and yeah, and everything will just go on from there. All right, so this is something that people need to pay attention to. Let me rewind it back a bit.
We'll do extraordinary things. Just give me the stone.
Just quickly as well, so he's saying that together we'll do extraordinary things. Just give him the stone. And once again, in other words, just give me your soul and spirit. All right, because I want you to belong to me.
You liar!
Kill him!
And Harry says you liar because Harry understood via wisdom and being an astute student that Voldemort was nothing but corrupt and evil. All right, he was nothing but corrupt, unrighteous, and evil-minded. So that's essentially a representation of someone that's righteous also. Okay, because you can associate Harry as like a Christ-like figure in a sense, because Christ, or Yahushua and Mashiach, was not willing to bow down to Satan, same way Harry Potter was not willing to bow down to Voldemort. All right, so that's essentially the point I wanted to make with regards to this video right here, this scenery right here. Because like I said, when I was watching, I thought, you know what, this will be a good scenery right here to talk about and break down the spiritual aspects behind the scenery and give forth wisdom to people that want to understand the spiritual aspects and the spiritual implications behind certain messages and certain movies and whatever have you, or even just have a broader understanding with regards to how the world really works and evolves. All right, so stay awake, stay spiritually strong, stay spiritually astute, have spirit discernment, and continuously seek the Most High Yahweh, continuously fast and pray, and that way the Most High will direct your paths, and also he will give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and it will give you spirit discernment to see right through what's going on in this evil, corrupt world that we live in. All right, so that's it for this video, and that's just the main talking points that I wanted to touch on. And yeah, I'll see you on the flip. Peace.